March 19, 1946, New York. War Diary. Oberleutnant Witt, A Company, 7th Panzer Division. We got our orders to begin the attack this morning. We made our way across the East River, rolled through Manhattan, which was mostly quiet, except for the rumbling of R-170s a few blocks down, but they were still busy reducing enemy positions across the Hudson. We made our way through the outer suburbs without trouble. I had heard on the grapevine that the civvies had conducted some raids last night in the Bronx, but it was all quiet now. Our task was to clear the main roads all the way up to the Connecticut River. We had reports from the scouts that the USAS 328th Armored had been rushed into defensive positions near Stamford. My boys were itching to see how we'd measure up crossing swords with an actual enemy tank, rather than just blasting infantry out of basements. We got there in the early afternoon, just after crossing the Delta, when we were stopped by a scout on a motorbike. He reported that the Americans were positioned on open ground just beyond the little forest ahead. We were baffled, surely. They would have gun-holed down in camouflaged positions for an ambush, as they clearly knew we were coming. Did they sincerely believe that the frontal plates of their M12s could stop a 120mm Panzergranate at under 1,000 meters? Did those boys have any training whatsoever? We almost pitied them. I radioed the rest of my group to form up behind me. We pushed through the forest and lined up. The first M12 we spotted was taken out by Weber, and my tank scored 2 more, then we pushed in. I fired a few times, but either missed or bounced before we were on them. All in all, we cleared out 13 for no losses, except Weber, who had lost a truck to a lucky hit. After the half-trucks had pushed up, secured the fields, and the infantry had started clearing out the defenders in Stamford, we took a look at the armor we had finished off. From what we could tell, their fuel tanks were pretty much empty. They must have pushed their engines hard to get here, and then just left the tanks in the fields where they ran out. It was a pitiful sight, really. And these are the murderous communists everyone was cowering from. If things continue like this, we'll be in Boston by April. From information received from our operatives inside the USAS, we know that they lack some critical resources, most critically rubber, which means that all their production of aircraft and half-trucks is probably not really getting anywhere. They might still be able to produce tanks in relatively large numbers, however, but mechanized infantry and just generally motorized vehicle might be a problem for them. Exacerbating that is the fact that they are completely out of convoys. Reports show that no shipping is available, which means no trade with potential deliveries of rubber from any direction. Now, we do have to take a stand in the question of the legation cities, because Beijing has sent an ultimatum, basically, and said they will take the legation cities by force if we don't agree to hand them over. Control of these cities is not as strategically important as it used to be. However, given the assistance that Germany has lent China initially, especially in the fight against Japan, and the general thanklessness of the Qing Empire once they had been put back into power, we are inclined not to give in to these demands. Now, General Paulus is moving his troops into position. The problem, obviously, is many of them, since they just came out of Vladivostok, are still on the trains. And we only have probably about 10 days left until we do have to end up responding to China. So May 16th is the deadline. We'll keep a very close eye on that. On the American front, Guderian's tanks will, after having cleared out the encircled northern force of the USAS, will be moving west in this case and secure Albany to secure the northern thrust, while we are then pivoting towards Washington once the Marines have fought their way across the rivers into the ground zero of Philadelphia. And once that staging ground is set, then I think the road to Washington is pretty much open. In the south, we are going to secure Atlanta, and we'll see if we can make a break here. We've got a few 6th, 4th, and 1st Armored, We will see if we can manage, with the help of the motorized infantry, to break through American lines here towards Tallahassee, and we will see if that allows us to encircle and destroy some of the southern force that the Americans have available to them here. We have, I think, mostly, yeah, we have pretty much control over the air. What's the situation in terms of tactical bombers? We do not really have another airport available to us. I think there is reasonably little, but we can put probably 2 more tactical bomber wings on site here. So let's get the 2 Kampfschulgeschwader over here and on ground support for the armored operations. And how's the air situation in the north? I think the East Coast air zone is pretty clear. Obviously, the Americans cannot replenish their aircraft, so they're still resisting in the New England zone. But any kind of we've got some tactical bombers that can now. We'll leave them on New England for now. East Coast is completely clear, so all other wings can be oriented north as well, and we can make sure that we have that we have all available fighters in the area. There are still a few planes out. I'm going to actually leave that to the heavy fighters and get the regular fighter planes back into the New England air zone. There we go. That should give us an overwhelming aerial superiority, and we're grinding down the US Air Force quite effectively. We do have an airbase in Vermont available, which I think we can get the tactical bombers over and get them to begin ground operations in New England as well. And with the absolutely crushing superiority of the Luftwaffe, that should then be no longer much of an issue. So we'll just keep an eye on the 16th of May while we are getting the sporadic American counterattacks, but they are light and uncoordinated. Now, Weber's tanks are pushing, and I think the American half trucks are not particularly effective in stopping tanks. They would need actual armored divisions or probably better positioning and entrenchment. So their lack of training isn't helping them there either. While they are equipped relatively well, they're not battle hardened as we are. So yeah, if we see that their complete lack of experience, lack of supply, and poor terrain choices are absolutely, and lack of enough firepower to break through the armor in any way whatsoever, means that they are relatively that they are not capable of stopping the onslaught here. So I think this is not going to be a large problem for Weber's tank divisions to break through despite the numerical superiority, the tactical superiority on the ground with the German Auftragstactic is going to win the day here, and we are going to encircle and destroy while the half trucks are catching up. Encircle and destroy the southern flank of the American troops here. Let's have a quick look. Nothing's been going on except for the occasional bombing. Close air support has been dropping bombs everywhere, and Guderian's armor is running into supply issues in the north here. That is unsurprising, given that we are relatively far from Boston at this point. So I think we will not be waiting any longer, but we will instantly begin the assault. The Americans are disorganized, and so we'll send, we've got 4 tank divisions, we'll send them over the northern route towards Albany, and we've got 2 tank divisions immediately hitting them in the southern area, and we've got another tank division here, and a few half-track divisions can push directly towards Albany as well. So we're just overall pushing into the front line here. And again, the Americans are reasonably good equipment, like the 216th Mechanized here, which has a good amount of firepower. The problem is their lack of experience and their lack of entrenchment overall, and obviously the Luftwaffe coming in now against the mostly defeated American Air Force is going to make a big difference. We're on the 10th. Let's check. Yeah, we have encircled. We have managed to encircle the American divisions in the south without too much problems, and that is a fair amount of troops here. So the infantry can now begin to begin to clear out the lines here from the other side as well. The encircled, demoralized, and undersupplied Americans. Okay, push towards Albany is already underway, and Guderian's tanks are on the move. I think we can support the operations here, while Albany, I think, is completely empty. So we'll just continue to push in, and the German half trucks and German infantry proves to be more effective. Plus, if the actual tank divisions are forcing the bridges, then things will, from both sides, then things will go poorly for the Americans very quickly. Okay, we let the infantry hold the northern line and pull Guderian's troops closer to Albany, and from there on they can sweep south towards Philadelphia and relieve the Marines on the Western Front in Newark. Our radio operators produced a lot of traffic. Whether the enemy actually monitored any of it is hard to tell. Our Department for Public Information has ensured that press coverage in friendly and neutral papers is roughly how we want it to look. The raid we conducted was a complete success, and the other side recovered plenty of evidence of our operation. Early reports indicate that there have been a number of troop movements in response to it already. So we have, from that, gained a large number of false, fake infantry divisions. These are phantom divisions that are not actually real. So, in fact, we can probably assign them to a new army. So, a mysterious fourth army, which is going to be led by General Kesselring, is going to, or we might actually split that into two. So we get those and create another one. So we have two, the 4th and the 6th Army under Kesselring and Mackensen, and we'll give them a new field marshal as well. These divisions don't actually exist. So what we can do, we'll just make it look like they exist. What we can do is we can assign these divisions to a front line and get the Americans to divert more troops there. Where do we want more American troops? So we'll see. We can assign these in Central America. I think giving the Americans an impression that even more massive enemy forces have arrived in Central America. Is going to be probably drawing more troops from the northern lines, making it easier for the German troops here to destroy the remaining enemy divisions. Okay, the last remaining American troops here are being corralled into smaller and smaller areas. They're on a fighting retreat, but they are getting overrun at this point, and I think that is pretty much, once the troops have cleared out the last defenders from the forests here, that was going to be that. And with that, we have destroyed, okay, I'm going to have to do this by hand again, but it's 50,000, 120, probably around about if I had to estimate, somewhere around 250 to 300,000 troops. These are losses that the Americans cannot sustain on the long term. And this is going to spell the end for the USAS sooner rather than later. Their war support is dwindling, especially now from combat casualties, and we should be seeing something from the bombing rates. In fact, I am slightly surprised that we are not. Oh, because we stopped the strategic bombing until the. No, we didn't. Strategic bombing is active on on all targets. So we should be dropping some. We have 100% mission efficiency. We should be dropping some bombs on enemy buildings. So let's have a look. Yes, that should eventually wear down their support for the conduct of the war as well. All right, we have taken the Albany positions without too much trouble. So I think now the Marines and the infantry can begin a renewed push towards Philadelphia, and alternatively we'll just bring the tanks in from the north. I think that might be better. Guderian's tanks have refueled, so we'll use the momentum. We will award the 8th Panzer the Knight's Cross with oak leaves, which reduces their supply consumption. It's always welcome. And we will use our momentum, push out from Albany, and link up with the Marines north of New York. Actually, we might be able to encircle a few enemy divisions on the way. So tanks are breaking through, and we are at 14th of May, so we are going to have to reply to China relatively soon against completely disorganized and chaotic American divisions. So even these small victories are costing the Americans dearly, while they are losing equipment on the run. Now, on the Asian theater is where are General Paulus's troops. We've got a few still underway. We've got a few divisions already in place. So Shanghai is defended. A few more areas are still being covered. Just double check that yes. So we've got divisions in the north, and everything else is. We probably want to include these areas as well, just in case that we are holding here. And with that, I think we've got everything covered. So we are now going to respond to Beijing that we will defend the legation cities, and that no, we are not going to bow to China. All right, and we have phantom divisions on the march. So the Americans are firmly believing that two new field armies are on the move towards the South American front. All right, for the push in from Florida, problem here is going to be supply, or the lack thereof, as there isn't an awful lot until Atlanta. So we will have to make a somewhat concentrated push. Let's see if we can. We'll wait for the tanks to line up, but then we'll make a concentrated push along the whole front line towards Atlanta and see if we can just catch the Americans out on momentum, because they don't have an awful lot of supply on their side either. While in the north, we are, by the looks of it, the Turkish defenders on the line. Have we been pushed back here? Not really. That's fine. The Turkish are, with the help of the Luftwaffe, are simply moving forward and clearing out the last remaining American positions there. So let's focus on the push towards the south to relieve the Marines, which have been sort of in a stalemate near Newark. And I think the Americans are, the American divisions are on the run. And despite the fact that there's a fair few of them, they are not really getting anything done in terms of an organized defense. And once we're close to the Marine positions, they can join the fight. Okay, we've overrun them. Marines push from the south, tanks pushing from the north, and with that, we will have another bulk of American defenders encircled. We are going to establish the Directorate of Enforcement, and with that we have yet more benefits from the Mitteleuropa system. So we are getting we're getting good benefits from this all over, from the European integration. All right, last stand of the American divisions here, trying to hold the lines. We'll probably pin any kind of reinforcements in place, but 6th Panzer and 1st Panzer are engaged together with the 14th Marine Sturmpanzer, and we've got the advanced small airframe. We'll deal with that in a second, and with that, I think some last defenders coming in. We'll leave the infantry behind, but the Marines and the tanks are trying to clear out the rapidly diminishing numbers of American troops here. We have encircled some divisions that can now be pushed from both sides, and I think with that the Marines are somewhat relieved here, and we have the armored divisions clearing out further positions along the lines towards the river. Let's push towards Trenton. And we had the small airframe completed, yes, so let's have a look at that. We can research the modern small airframe, so let's make that happen. And we don't even need to bother with intermediate steps, but we are going towards a modern small airframe. Slim counterattack there, very briefly from the Americans, but not much in terms of momentum that they could possibly achieve trying to stop Guderian's tanks. How is the troop disposition in the south? I think we are in place here, so let's get the armored divisions to lead the charge north towards Atlanta, and we'll have to check where. We'll bring the half trucks along. It looks like they managed to somewhat organize their defenses here. So we'll make a concentrated push along the full length of the line to secure Atlanta. All right, that will give. And we'll bring the half trucks along as well. So that will give Weber's troops something to do. Yes, and despite the fact that there was the 14th Continental Division actually holding the line here, they have been pushed back rather rapidly, and we'll leave some of the motorized, some of the mechanized divisions behind in order to secure the lines here. And I think we are about to reach Atlanta. Weber's tanks are simply rushing across the plains, completely overrunning the surprised and overwhelmed American forces. And I think they are being overrun at a speed that they did not actually see coming. Atlanta has already fallen, and now once again we actually have to reorganize our supply lines here. We'll take Weber's tanks and focus them onto the eastern coast. We'll also be bringing the Gebirgskommando into the area because we are starting to hit the Appalachian Mountains, and in case any operations there are required, it's good to have the special forces on site. At the same time, for the two mobile armies, for Weber's 2nd and for Guderian's 15th, orders have been given to push towards Washington from two sides, and we will crush the Americans at this point. I think we can. Let's see what the air situation is. The enemy aircraft are basically no longer operational. We can, I think, now start. We'll take the fighter wings. We'll ground the fighter wings for now. There's no need for that, and we will start focusing everything else on the East Coast air zone. We have no problem with the heavy fighters to operate in that region, so we can escort any kind of flights that are coming in, and we've got regular fighter wings here, which are going to be going down as well. Okay, so we've got not really any further. We might leave a few up, just in case, but we don't really have any more operational aircraft on the USAS side in the region. in the southern zone, there's still a fair amount. We don't have any more airports, I think, and the airbase in Florida is pretty saturated. So we might make use of our rocket sites and begin see if we can run some strategic bombings on the East Coast. So let's fire some rockets from the Caribbean, because these rockets have a range of about half the world. In fact, maybe we'll just hit them behind the lines. We'll hit them in the Great Lakes area. That might be more feasible. So rockets should be launching from Port-au-Prince into behind the enemy lines. And with that we can proceed. Where do we have Guderian's tanks now? I think with that we can proceed to push towards Ground Zero Philadelphia. The enemy has not managed to stop our advances, so Guderian is going to concentrate and push along Harrisburg towards Washington. The first Marine Sturmpanzer divisions are starting to launch probing attacks across the river into Ground Zero, where American defenders have dug in, trying to hold the area. The 6th Marine is leading the charge here. There comes the rest of them. Okay, we've got additional divisions jumping in now as well, and with that, I think even the American tank division isn't going to be able to hold against the flexible light marine tanks rushing across the river, where they were trying to defend the bridges. Meanwhile, Guderian's tanks can actually, don't need all of them, but we'll get the 5th, 8th and 9th to push south and clear out the south bank of the Philadelphia position against completely overwhelmed American defenders. Meanwhile, have we seen any bombings yet near Chicago? Probably rockets should have arrived by now. Meanwhile, the first American counterattacks along the lines are happening, with some disorganized troops going up against Weber's tanks. But support from the infantry is arriving very quickly. They put up strong positions. However, Modul's dug-in infantry might be a little bit harder pushed to hold the lines in the north here. We might need to reinforce them if necessary, but we do have a lot of troops from the Reichspakt available that can resupply the front lines there as well. Plus, we've got the mountain divisions in who can help out in case. Mountain Infantry 3 is done. Was there anything else I have here? No. It's not really an awful lot. I'll just do some general research. Not that it will have much of an effect. Meanwhile, in Germany, after a reign of over 53 years, Prince Friedrich von Waldeck-Pyrmont has peacefully passed away today at age 81. Despite his lacking charisma and barely existent political legacy, Friedrich achieved what many German monarchs have dreamt of. He is now officially the longest reigning sovereign in the 75-year-long history of the German Empire, surpassing even the legendary Wilhelm II by just a few weeks, something that probably makes the eternal Kaiser turn in his grave. The great insignificance of Prince Friedrich can be attributed not only to the fact that Waldeck is one of Germany's smallest and least populous constituent states, but also to Waldeck's extreme dependency on Prussia. And due to a controversial treaty signed in 1867, as the Principality was not able to cover the yearly matricular contributions every member state has to pay, the prince was turned into an irrelevant figurehead, while the internal administration was taken over by the Prussians from nearby Kassel and Hanover. On several occasions, outright dissolution of Waldeck-Pyrmont was on the table. in parts because activists in Bad Pyrmont, with not much in common with their rulers called for a unification with the province of Hanover, but these plans always came to nothing. It will be the duty of Friedrich's son, Prince Josias von Waldeck-Pyrmont, to steer the tiny principality through the new area. Yes, death is inevitable. We get some stability out of it. It goes to show, even though millions of Germans are fighting on foreign shores, life in the empire and within the imperial nobility, despite all the changes that have happened, continues unabated. Going back to the north, the Marines have taken Philadelphia, although the 6th Marine Sturmpanzer has been pushed back by American counterattacks. But the rest of the Marines is now digging in ground zero and holding the line there, while Guderian's tanks are rushing in to assist with the defense. And with that, Philadelphia has fallen. Is that connected supply-wise? I think it is. So we're just going to have to wait for 3 days for the engineers to restore supply lines and to get us into positions into position for the next thrust. Meanwhile, Guderian's armored divisions are clearing up in the south. And then there's not much standing in our way towards the capital in Washington. And with that, pretty much most of the eastern seaboard is falling. After the success in Atlanta, I think we can further move the line here. After the success in Atlanta, we are reorienting Weber's armored divisions for a northeastern thrust, while the Marines are moving to Savannah, potentially for a naval invasion behind enemy lines, but we will see if that becomes necessary. Otherwise, they can also be used for the river crossing at Savannah to pave the way for the armor. Guderian's tanks are in position and can now begin operations towards Harrisburg to clear out enemy positions along the lines here in cooperation with the mechanized infantry divisions. And at times, given that the Americans are completely out of supply here, even the regular divisions can join the fight and can make themselves useful in clearing out these positions. And yes, obviously, if there are tank divisions available, then they are going to take the spearhead. And with that, we are pushing the enemy back towards Baltimore, and then we will have to consolidate, I think, because the supply lines are getting a little stretched. Harrisburg, the enemy divisions are being overrun near Harrisburg, and Harrisburg has fallen. But I think now is a point where we probably, is there a supply position here? No. The next one would probably be Baltimore. Okay, we'll consolidate. We'll consolidate along the line. We'll pull forward. We'll pull forward Guderian's tanks all the way up to the river, and then we will get the Marines to launch a major river crossing into Baltimore, and then up to Washington. Meanwhile, Weber's divisions, I think, are in place now. So I think at this point, the Americans literally don't have much left that they can throw against us. We'll get Halder's Militärkommando to begin assault operations across the river. We've got a few more Marines that can join the fight here. But the Marine Sturmpanzer divisions on their own are pretty capable, even without air support, to deal with the dug-in American half-tracks across the other side. And with the river breached, I think there's nothing that's stopping Weber's armored divisions from pushing ahead. The territory isn't favorable, but we will be giving an all around at forward orders towards Columbia, which is the next consolidation target. And on the northern flank, we are doing the same, which means that once the mountain divisions arrive, then they can actually support the northern operations. I am going to reduce the amount for for the infantry divisions and holding the lines here, because we will simply just be pushing with we'll be pushing with the armored divisions here. So let's see if we can make it to Charleston without too much trouble, while in the north, and we've got the modern medium airframe and the schwere Wurfgerät. Not that we're going to need that necessarily at this point, but we've taken ground zero. We've gone through the horrors of Philadelphia, and might as well just do the rest of the research. Really, it doesn't matter much anymore at this point. We've got everything that we need, and I think Washington is about to fall. How far is the American government from? No, they're still nowhere near giving up. So I think we might have to take more of their territory going forward. But let's begin with the Marines crossing the river line, and then taking Baltimore from two directions. And then Guderian's tanks will rush forward, follow on, and push towards Washington, D.C. and take the enemy capital. So with that push in the south, and once again, American defenders against concentrated Luftwaffe bombardment not having an awful lot of a chance. With that push in the south, the enemy capital once again falls, and hopefully the American government will begin to see reason. How is our intelligence operation happening? Yeah, we are probably going to be able to launch some more propaganda operations, because we have a few more operatives available now that have been on missions before. We'll launch one there, and we'll launch one in the north in Buffalo. Okay, and we've got another one, St. Louis. All right, let's see what kind of impact that will have. That will have on the American support for the conduct of the war. The casualties are really starting to bite. We're completing the vitalization of the heavy industry, which means we can next support German car manufacturers as well. All right, 5th, 7th, and 9th Panzer Division are pushing into the enemy capital. Last-ditch defense efforts have been thwarted. The tanks are too fast, and Washington has fallen, and the German army has advanced towards and captured the symbolic capital of the United States, Washington, D.C. They stormed the Capitol building and met strong resistance, but eventually they broke through, and the flag of the German Empire now flies over the U.S. Capitol. This has led to a major crackdown on the government officials there, with mass arrests reported and even rumors of summary executions in the Capitol itself, although unconfirmed sources claim that most important federal government figures were evacuated during the battle, with their current whereabouts unknown. That is a blow to the Americans, and definitely has further reduced their will to fight. Where have they? We don't know yet where they have moved their, where they will be moving their new command structures. But I think the East Coast is about to fall, and then we can prepare for further operations. We might have to send a few divisions south to clear out American positions here. Washington, D.C. has fallen. The Marines have led the charge, and Guderian's tanks have brought in the rear. And for now, we can expand the positions northwards, while the tank divisions are fending off counterattacks. We will leave the 7th Panzer behind, and the rest will push north to consolidate the positions. And we can support operations, take some bridges, support operations in the north as well, and clear out some more American troops. If the American government ardently keeps refusing to surrender, we might have to inflict some more casualties on them. Meanwhile, in the south, Weber's troops have made their way into Charleston, and are once again stopping at the river line, And we are now getting the Gebirgskommando in play, which means we can get these troops in position northwards, and they can clear out the American mountain holdings. So their task is going to be to make their way through the mountain positions all the way up to Pittsburgh, and potentially clear paths into the central areas, whereas otherwise Guderian is going to move north, Chicago, where probably the final stand is going to happen of the American government in order to finish this conflict. And the Americans are completely retreating on all fronts. But once again, we have to actually wait for Guderian's armored divisions to catch up and secure the line near Washington. We can make small probing operations and securing the flanks. But other than that, we are consolidating the lines once more. In the south, I think slight counterattacks from but ineffective counterattacks from American troops. We are not going to need the Marines, I think, anymore at this point. I think we can confidently say that we can give Weber his marching orders at some point and get him to move along the East Coast. There is a bit of a troop concentration, so maybe we will try to destroy some of the enemy divisions. We'll use some of the available armored divisions to push towards Charlotte. There are memories here from the original fight in support of the southern states, really, and this was an area where we tried holding the line. Americans' reinforcements coming in from the north, trying to bolster the defenses, but even without Marine support, they can't hold the bridges against Weber's tanks. We are pushing across, and we will see if we can manage to encircle a few divisions and destroy them to further reduce the American will to resistance. Talking about resistance. That is an area where we actually are going to need to divert some operatives towards. So let's get Agent Polyakova to begin rooting out resistance in New York. Yeah, there we go. And that should overall reduce the amount of trouble the American civilian population is giving us on the ground, and operations underway to take Charlotte. After many years, this operation is once more underway, and we'll cross the river positions, see if we can cut them off in the south, and see if we can trap a few of the American divisions here. We actually have the 1st Schützendivision leading the charge. They will be promoted in the field for their efforts, and they are supported. They are now being supported by actual panzer divisions. So brave mechanized infantry running through and breaking through here, trying to cross the river east of Charlotte and making it through the soggy terrain against sporadic American defenders who are clearly on the back foot. It remains to be seen if they can mount a coherent defense once we've joined the lines near Washington, because Guderian should be ready again. But pushing through the mountainous areas is probably not an ideal proposition. So I think we're good in terms of the Marines here. We can bring the Marine divisions. They have fought valiantly. We will bring them. I will bring them back to New York for now, where they can get some rest and resupply. Meanwhile, Guderian's tanks need to be more concentrated towards a push along the coastline. So let's get Let's form up the tank concentrations while Weber's troops are on the move and are making their way through. No, you go this way and then south. Okay, or actually this way and then surround more. Making their move, cutting off some troops in the south here and ready to inflict some more pain upon the Americans. But it's unclear how quickly the Chicago government can even react at this point. First Panzer has broken through to the coast, which means that the remaining divisions can now push in support and push the American defenders back. That's 4, 5, 6 divisions encircled. First Panzer is faced with significant opposition here, but I think the First Panzer is managing to break through the demoralized defenders here. And there is an opportunity for the 1st Schützen to break through even further and see if it can manage to reach the coastline. We are going to have to wait for additional reinforcements here, however. We might be able to encircle the larger part of this group that has managed to make their way out before they can flee. So we will be sending a few tank divisions together with the first Schützendivision through and see if they can cut off the enemy. The Americans are trying to put up a defense with their armored divisions, but they are out of supply and on the run. A large amount of American divisions has been cut off and is trying to retreat, but they are very rapidly running out of areas to retreat to, which means that the losses that the Americans have taken along the East Coast here are going to be staggering. Overall, the USAS has taken 2.5 million dead or captured already along the lines. With these victories, Weber's tanks are rapidly rushing through, and we now have the mountain troops in position, so they can begin cleanup operations in the north. And slowly, we should have supply out of Atlanta. Yeah, we do. Slowly move the lines. Slowly move the lines in the north. We do have to once again pull back the infantry here. We don't need them. We don't need them all along. We just need them to hold the western lines here. But first engagement of the mountain divisions against American defenders, despite the fact that the territory is favorable to them. I think, we have green air everywhere. And with that, I think they are going to collapse relatively quickly. Now, Weber's spearhead has, especially the 1st Schützen, which has distinguished itself, but also the tank divisions, has to reorganize along the lines here. So we've got the 2 Knights Crosses. Let's give the 2nd class Iron Cross as well. And here we have supply and a breakthrough. Okay. And I think we still have a few. Yeah, we can actually reorganize some of Weber's old armored divisions and give them more equipment and turn them into proper Kampfpanzerdivision. Yes, they will be reorganized along the front lines. So Weber's troops are now going to move to dig in first. We've got. I don't think they have any more. Okay, these guys have. We'll give Weber's tank divisions time to reorganize along the lines here, and I think they have made great gains in very rapid succession. So we give them time to reorganize, and then we'll be pushing north towards. Then we give Guderian some opportunity here to make some moves north of Richmond, and we'll see if we can if Guderian can manage to link up with Weber's troops. Along the supply lines. That should work along the supply lines south of the mountains, and see if we can cut off everything else that is along the coastline here. So we will push along the supply lines towards linking up with Weber's troops, and we'll get the tanks to secure the northern line here and push along. And with that, I think with that we will have whatever is available towards Norfolk completely isolated, and that should be that. Relatively little American resistance. We get the mechanized infantry to already begin cleaning up in the rear. Meanwhile, Guderian's tanks are once again on the move, and his 7th Panzer can receive their decorations as well, while they are now we're out of political power, while they are fighting. Weber obviously will try not to leave the glory all to Guderian, and see if he can meet him. So after slight American counterattacks, instantly move towards linking up with Guderian, and then we should have the positions under our control. The Mountaineers have made their way into the first Appalachian positions. So we'll continue the push, and we'll see if we can clear out the mountain positions for further inland operations in the future. Meanwhile, Guderian and Weber are racing to meet up. The 15th Army and the 2nd have met. That has led to some minor encirclements in the south, and just general cleanup operations behind the lines. With that, the east coast is pretty much secured, and the Americans have taken catastrophic losses both in manpower and in material, but they are running successful operations against the German infantry here in the north with some mechanized divisions. So we might have to send somebody north because the Americans have concentrated a fair amount of troops here at this point. We might have to send somebody north to assist with holding these positions. It looks like the 255th has been pushed back, but we'll see if the exhausted Americans can exploit it. They can. First American counterattack has been successful in the north against von Manstein's infantry. How are we on mechanized infantry? Not a huge stockpile. However, we are running out of oil, so we are going to have to increase the import to reduce the amount of fuel needed. But obviously all the air operations and ground operations are taking their toll here. And now we have, I think, pushed the Americans towards the Appalachians. With the Mountaineers are busy clearing out positions across, and then we will get ready for the assault on Chicago. Resistance across the territory, especially in New York and in Florida, is becoming increasingly an issue. So it is a bit of a race because we do have to garrison a fair amount. And where's the USA? Yep. We've got to garrison a fair amount. We've got 10 divisions currently active, and that is. Do we have? I'm not sure if we've got military police researched. No, we don't. So no use for that. It's fine. But we are in a bit of a race between getting the USAS to capitulate. And they actually have slightly improved their war support, because they're no longer losing convoys. The combat casualties should be more than making up for that. But I think what is going to be needed is a wholesale destruction of a large amount of American troops, and there are a lot of American troops trapped in the south. So our ruse has worked. We've got all these. We're getting all these divisions into position. Now they obviously they are obviously not existing, but the Americans believe that we have moved a large amount of reinforcements into Central America, which means a lot of troops, American troops, are concentrated in Central America and can potentially be destroyed if we were to land troops. So I think we have found a new task for General Halder's Marinekommando. So what if we send his Sturmpanzer divisions for a naval invasion behind enemy lines into Central America? So let's have a quick look what this looks like. We've got Costa Rica, which is occupied by the USAS. We've got the Central American Federation, which is obviously allied. And we've got Panama, which is not in any faction. So we can we ask for, we'd have to get them into the war if we were to move from there. So what we could do is we could land in near San Jose, liberate Costa Rica, and then destroy all these cut off American divisions using the Marines. I think that is going to be a good use for the Marines. So they will be launching a naval invasion from Kingston. So we've got the front lines organized. Modus' 3rd Army is holding the west. Weber's 2nd Army is holding position south of the mountains, waiting for the mountain troops to dig out the American defenders and get ready for a crossing into enemy territory. We've got Guderian's tanks will be positioned in the north, and the somewhat beleaguered 9th Army under von Manstein is currently holding the eastern line. So we'll see if we can actually give him some send some troops from Germany to reinforce him. We might send the Schützen divisions into where we've got which one was it? The 9th Army von Manstein, currently 16, so we need 8 more divisions. So we will send the Schützen division out of that, and then we can send 4 more infantry divisions to supplant the front lines. And with that, we will probably send another 4 to Model as well. And with that, Model is at full strength 2. So we've got 4 frontline armies holding the U.S. East Coast and facing, after horrific losses, a total of still 200 divisions, including 19 tank divisions. So with the middle of the year 1946 reached, the USAS has still not capitulated. However, the government has taken horrific losses, and I think with a push towards Chicago, we should be able to end the war without much further bloodshed. We'll take a moment to wait for the resupplies to come in, to get all the divisions lined up in their respective positions, and we will be launching Halder's naval invasion from Kingston once his divisions are in place. And the absolute disparity of losses, 20,000 so far for the German Empire versus 2.8 million cost to the Americans, shows that if it wasn't for the threat of the USAS developing and using atomic bombs, their power was somewhat overestimated all in all.